The time is now. Do you want to give them more when the time is now? You've seen the rest now. You want the best when the time is now. The time is now. You've seen the rest now. You want the best when the time is now.
You are watching the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference Girls Lacrosse Tournament on ISC Sports Network. Today it is the 6-seeded Siena Heights Saints visiting the 3-seeded Marian Knights. Alongside Harrison Silcox, I'm Joey Lindstrom. And Harrison, what a matchup we have today. These two teams met earlier in the season, and Marian came away victorious 12-4 in a pretty convincing victory. Now maybe a little bit of revenge on the mind of Siena Heights, looking to play spoiler against Marian, who has pretty high expectations for this WHAC tournament.
Yeah, Marian, absolutely high expectations. You talk about a group who, this is the year where it feels like they're coming together at the right time with the blend of experience and talent that they have, both defensively and on the offensive end. But you mentioned Siena Heights. They have a history of, making deep runs into this tournament, so they're hoping to pull off an upset today. Even though the first matchup that they played this season on this field didn't go their way, they lost 12-4. This is a team that still has some players who are capable to spring in a surprise in the Knights.
Siena Heights arrives with a 6-8 record on the season, 3-5 in WHAC play. Marian is number 9 in NAIA, 8-5 record, 6-2. Their 5 losses all came against teams in the top 10 of the NAIA rankings in women's lacrosse. And we are getting set for first draw in the circle. It's Emily Pringle for Siena Heights and Ashlyn Gray for Marian. And Marian wasting no time as Gray works through to try to split defenders, and she'll carry to X to get the offense moving for Marian.
Good opportunity and just settle in the first possession here. Draw control's huge in every single game in women's lacrosse, especially if you're a favorite. You're expected to win some of these draws with the players that Marian has. So, taking these possessions, taking care of the ball, getting good looks on cage, it's a good opportunity for them to settle into the first quarter of postseason play.
Yeah, Gray has 67 draw control. She has dominated in the circle and been a player that Allie Stork-Sneed in her 4th season as a head coach has relied on since the day she set foot on campus, along with her sister Caitlin, who's carrying the ball there as they work to spin. And our first foul of the day against Siena Heights, this will be Caitlin Gray on the 8-meter mark. She is poised and ready to shoot at any time when she gets a free position. She'll charge towards the cage and dump home, and that goal will count. She gets past Lucy Stedham, the senior goalkeeper, and Marian is on the board first.
That's good work from Gray in a 5th year out of Fort Wayne. Just the experience on offense to draw the foul, get on the fan, and then here you just watch a good job of the stick protection. Right, it's not the strongest, most powerful shot you're going to see, but she takes care of the ball. She gets inside, gets as good of an angle as she could possibly get on cage. And when it comes time to put it on frame, she does just that. And the Knights settling into this game exactly how they would have wanted to.
Yeah, you look at the abilities of the Marian Knights as you get another draw control attempt here from Madison Dumke. There's it's a palpable sense of force when they're on offense, and that's where they're most comfortable. We haven't even begun to talk about Ella Grace Gee, and we have a lot of time to cover her in this broadcast because they are a fully loaded offense that returns almost every single starter on that side of the ball from a year ago.
Yeah, you mentioned Joey. I mean, one of the hardest things to defend is this offense. Big reason why they've got 5 different players who can all score or assist at nearly any given moment if they're running the sets the way that they want to. But that's a tough way to end a possession quickly there with the turnover.
And good for Siena Heights on the opposite end. They're coached by Alexa Mata in her 5th season. 30 wins under her belt at the helm for the Saints. Their last most successful season, they made it all the way to the NAIA National Championship Tournament as the 8th seed and fell to Kaiser, the eventual national champion, in that first round as the first shot goes wide of the cage for Androwski. Good work by Siena Heights to back that up. Julia Porchetta. And now off and running over top the cage. Goes the way for Jenna Alley. And she is the prolific goal scorer for this team. 29 goals this season. Jenna inside, maybe thought she had Ava Holland. It is picked up by Siena Heights, and a shot gets welcomed by KJ Hirsch in the cage, and a foul to follow.
And that's a fantastic save that we just saw from Hirsch. And
she lost it on the goal. I was looking down to ID the player. And we have our first goal for Siena Heights.
Yeah, she lost it on the cradle. It looked like, Joey, I just kind of looked up and looked downfield to see how Marian was setting up in the clear, and you watch just off the cradle.
Oh, man.
And that is a tough break for the Knights after such a good start. You're looking downfield, maybe trying to start some transition with a quick outlet.
Well, you see her interacting there. That was a gesture toward Allie Stork-Sneed, the head coach. And Coach Sneed was a goalkeeper herself at Butler University, and she knows the woes sometimes of cradling with the giant cross. So she can understand that can happen once in a while. And that's kind of the laid-back attitude that is the reason why Marian has been so successful over the last few years, is because of their staff's ability to relate to their players at any and all times and say, next play, let's go.
You saw Hirsch maybe a bit of a smirk as well, a bit of a smile in there, just try to laugh that one off. She's a junior, she's an experienced player, and gotta have a short memory there and move on to the next play.
And Marian will certainly do that. A green card awarded there to Sophia Baugh.
Yeah, just a little bit dangerous there. You see the cross check here, right in the back of Gray. So 1 minute warm it up coming up here for the Knights. A good way to answer off that early mistake that gave Siena Heights their first goal of the day.
And if you're Siena Heights, you'd prefer not to be a player down, because Marian will go ahead and take advantage of that. Anytime they can sniff a goal, especially when it comes to a player up opportunity, they're going to try their best to get there. But because of the green, this will be a shorter penalty than a yellow, which is deemed 2 minutes by all accounts. And Marian will spin a circle to try to get this around. Their leading goal scorer this season has been Katie Murphy, a graduate transfer from Butler, just down the road. 42 goals for Murphy.
Yeah, Murphy, just another layer of experience that this offense has. As the woman upends here, and you start to see Marian look towards cage, it's going to result in a turnover.
Nicely done on the defensive end there for Siena Heights, rather. Catherine Androwski gets that caused turnover, but Marian returns the favor. Moved up to Ella Grace Geed, and she is hard-pressed to miss when you give her time and space like that, but she didn't need a whole lot of space in that particular instance, and Marian regains the lead.
I want to give credit here to Leah Newell, I believe who that was at midfield, to force that turnover on the clear, finding that ground ball, and then Grace Keith, just a sophomore, but the stick skills on the inside to get the shot placement as well as she did. It makes it look easy, and trust me, a lot of practice goes into that. A lot of hours playing wall ball goes into that sort of finish, and the Knights rightfully reclaim the lead.
Ella Grace Geed, local Indy product, Bishop Chatard High School. Program that is starting to become very dominant in the state of Indiana this season. They are off to a great start. And she, just a sophomore, has already had a pretty illustrious career. First team all-conference last year, newcomer of the year, likely to be first team all-conference again this season, as Dumke Controls in the circle once again. Another draw control for Marian. 3-0 so far in that category. Ruby Mason, another sophomore and former teammate, or still teammate rather, of Ella Grace Geed back in high school, also a Chittard product.
There's just patience here that we're seeing a lot from Marian in this opening quarter. No need to force the issue. I mean, you got 90 seconds on the shot clock. You just want to keep the ball moving. You don't want to be standing still too much. But patience here, just settle into the game. But, oh, good slide there from Siena Heights.
Ava Lasareski comes away with that turnover. Nicely done. And it's an Iron Woman effort here to get it over the midfield and some contact just past the mini marker. A green card issued here for Anna Moore, the junior defensive midfielder.
Yeah, you got to be careful a little bit in transition this season. These green cards have been handed out a little bit more frequently. That's similar to the one that we saw against Siena Heights, just to check into the back. So now a good opportunity for the Saints to get one back on the board. They got to finish off this clear, though.
And possibly a message maybe sent by the officials that not so much contact will be permitted today, especially in the playoffs where you're trying to get yourself in a spot. You're playing clean and fundamental. But here's an opportunity for Siena Heights to go ahead and tie the game. Catalano inside and a save from Hirsch. Nice parry away on that particular shot there by Emily Pringle. Jenna Alley working against Ashlyn Gray. This Marian defense has been reshaped, scrapped, reshaped again. They were tried and true in a backer zone for the longest time, but they've moved themselves into a bit of a hybrid as this ball gets past KJ Hirsch and a goal for Siena Heights. Jenna Alley, her first of the day and 30th on the season.
And Joey, if you want to score goals, a good way to do that is work hard when you don't have the ball. Allie doing that here, getting open off the cut. Good catch and shoot as well. Strong righty shot from the sophomore. If she gets looks, she's going to find a way to bury him. And the Saints hanging around in this one as the 6th seed. It's early here in this first quarter, but even with that mistake against Hirsch for that first goal of the game, they really come here to play defensively. They're finding ways to make stops, and they've been testing Hirsch with some shots here early on as well. It was a really good look on Cage for the Saints on that save Hirsch made before the own goal. And then Allie there getting free off the ball and able to bury it. I mean, she's got 7 goals in her last 2 games now. You include this one. She's just a sophomore, but a threat on offense.
And a draw control here for Siena Heights. It's Sophia Baugh getting that over to Emily Pringle. Pringle really the catalyst of a ton of offense for this team. And she works off to Danielle Turner, and Siena Heights getting a little more pressure from Marian, and it pays off for the Knights. But a cover foul will deem this back the way of the Saints. Inside, wow, that pass nearly looked like it was headed towards Cage. It goes wide, and it'll head back to Marian, according to the official. They do deem that a pass instead of a shot, although it did have a little zip on it.
Probably the right call. It was a little bit crowded there in front of the crease. Looked like Pringle was looking for a look inside. That's not the first time today we've kind of seen Pringle just survey from the point and try and find cutters off ball, and making Marian work defensively as well to track where those cutters are coming from. And now mistake here in the clear.
That's Lazareski once again scooping that ball. It was Ella Gray Skeed trying to field it off the pass from Murphy. And a failed clear goes by way back to Marian. Ella Gray Skeed at the door. 2 in a row.
And that's 2 failed clears that results in an Ella Gray Skeed goal. And if you want to win in the postseason, one thing you got to do, Joey, you have to take care of the ball. Transitions are so big in the game of lacrosse. You see Grace Geed last minute switching over to a right hand as well. I mean, stick skills again to turn on the dodge with a stick in your left hand, work inside, tiptoe that crease while switching to your right to get that shot off. Geed has just been clinical from close range in this first quarter.
And Allie Stork-Sneed tells us that being able to have the ball hot potato-esque style, working on getting the ball to quicker ball movement, hold it way too long sometimes. So she set a rule, her and her staff, Sierra Street and Zoe Law, said 3 seconds with the ball is all you're permitted. You see some of that quick ball movement paying off for Marian early in this game. Well over halfway through the first quarter of action of the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference quarterfinal between Marian and Siena Heights, alongside Harrison Silcock's Joey Lindstrom. Marian out in front by 1. And a yellow issued to Siena Heights, Jenna Alley.
Yeah, she'll have to take a seat for a couple of minutes. Bozeman, that yellow card doesn't happen if she doesn't get a stick in the passing lane a few minutes before, Joey. And, you know, when you're active like that, forcing turnovers, you know, that can give a little bit of juice to your team defensively, just a little bit more motivation. And, I mean, we've seen early in this one, Marian capitalizing on turnovers. We'll see if they can continue to do that with a woman-up opportunity.
They've had a little bit of trouble here in the clearing game. Wouldn't you say they just look a little bit, I don't know what the word is, not quite
you know,
sloppy, but
the passes may not be as crisp, and that may turn into some ground balls, and you know, it can be like that sometimes, and then that's where the ground ball battle really factors into play. I mean, a great way to win possessions, get the ball back, or keep possessions is to, oh, good look inside. Oh, what a save.
it sure was, and nicely done by Lucy Stedham. 45% save percentage on the season. That is her 121st save on the year.
You mentioned this ground ball battle. If it is going to be a little bit sloppy in the clearing game, this ground ball battle is going to be huge. As you see, right, another free ball up for grabs here.
It's Danielle Turner on the run, who's looking for Abby Scott. Can't connect on that pass, and it's back to Marian. We're going end to end.
Yeah, and those are the plays for the Saints that you just can't have if you want to pull off the upset. You know, mistakes in the clearing game, off target a little bit on your passes.
Marian clearing at an 81% clip this season. Certainly something that they want to continue to get better at as they would move on. And, of course, season on the line today. Top 6 make it into the WHAC tourney as Gray fires a shot, but it's saved nicely by Lucy Stedham.
You mentioned the clearing percentage for Marian, Joe. I mean, below 70% this season is the Saints. And, again, you have another failed clear here, and just getting a little greedy in transition there, trying to get one back is going to put Siena Heights back on the clear. But clearing is just such a huge part of the game, and it's something that the Saints are really going to have to nail down here this game if they want to pull off an upset.
Well, they were locked in on the clears against Aquinas on Saturday, winning that game 17-10, and prior to that, they were on a 4-game losing streak. So it maybe gave them a little juice to propel them into this tournament.
Yeah, maybe help you get hot at the right time a little bit as well, coming into this tournament with as dominant as a win as they had to close out the regular season. And so far too, we talk about the clearing game, but the Saints are very much in this thing. It's 3-2. We're almost all the way through the first quarter here, but there it is, more issues on the clear.
Yeah, Haley Irvin scoops this one up, and Marian will assume possession, and I'm guessing that they will settle to get subs on and to just have everybody get a breather here.
Yeah, you've got 70 seconds to work with here on the possession. Take your time. Take a couple deep breaths before you work into your set. Also, if you're Marian, you've dominated possession in this game. I'm sure maybe they would like to see a couple more goals. You do have to credit the play Lucy Stedham, though. She's made some fantastic saves here in the last couple of minutes.
She sure has. It's been just she's marked down for 2 saves today, but her impact so far, because they've been key saves, Marian could be out to a 5-2 lead if not for her. Because of those, I mean, some shots you're just not going to save as a goalkeeper. Those are both shots that were very tough to save for her.
You're talking about postseason play, too. I mean, when you get a goaltender who's feeling it, a hot goalie, I mean, that can be enough there to give you a bit of a postseason run. Is it another turnover here from Marian? Another offensive possession comes up empty.
Could this be another clearing woe for Siena Heights? Now they scoop it up, and it's working for them now. Up to Maitland Fuentes. She will carry along the right side, and likely back to X. We'll pull back out, but an errant pass gets away from her. A nifty scoop there from Sophia Baugh. And with 2:30 to go, Siena Heights just down by 1. It's Turner. Slid on, nicely done by Madison, excuse me. Leads the team in caused turnovers, over 100 career caused turnovers and 100 ground balls. Gets another one for Marian here to propel the Knights, and it's clear as day, 4-on-4. It looks like a drill. Murphy gets it to go, and it's a 2-goal lead again for Marian.
That's great work from Murphy, too. You see the experience that comes with being able to catch this pass through the physical contact and get the shot off as well. It's not a natural shooting motion at all, but Murphy's just able to put it on target in a spot that's going to be hard for Stedham to save. As you just see Geed head up, looks inside, facing some pressure, and Murphy, I mean, that shot's entirely with the top hand.
Yeah, it's tough.
And Murphy's able to stick it home. So that's that experience showing out there, and Marian deservedly so in front by 2.
And Murphy on a graduate degree program. Able to come over to Marian. Got injured towards the end of her career over at Butler. They're more than thankful to have her. Now 43 goals on the season for Katie Murphy.
And Ashlyn Gray on the edge of that circle has been huge in draw controls today. As she gets another, as you know, whatever the strategy that's been cooked up from the draw circle this afternoon, working very well for the Knights so far.
And a big key coming into today for Allie Stork-Sneed was getting all the draws that we can, shooting early, continuing to move the ball, and they've done just that in this first quarter. And Siena Heights, I think, has come to play today, wouldn't you say?
Oh, for sure. For sure. But the thing is their defense has really stepped up, because you mentioned the majority of these draw controls have gone Marian's way. So your defense is going to have to manufacture a stop if, as we see a shot and a goal there, as Marian just continues to build on that lead. And that's where those draw controls are so big, Joey. When you get the opportunity to play some make it, take it lacrosse, and that's what we're seeing here. It's such a unique advantage to this sport that, you know, after a goal, whoever's going to get the ball next, it's a 50-50 shot, essentially. But, right, some teams are just going to be better at the draw circle at others. Or some days you're going to have better days at the circle than others. And right now, Marian, it's their day in the draw circle. And so 3 straight goals. This thing was tied 2-2, but late here in the first, they're starting to take a little bit of control.
There's certainly a sense that Marian is starting to figure out the Siena Heights defense early. That was Caitlin Gray. Her 15th goal of the season, a 3-year captain alongside her twin sister. What's fascinating about this pair, the Grays, didn't start playing lacrosse until college. They're soccer and basketball players, and they really took on the lacrosse identity. You wouldn't be able to tell that they just started 4 years ago with their stick skills and the way they can shoot and
well, it just goes to show, you know, you're a multi-sport athlete, right? You can thrive in a lot of sports. You know, pick up a lacrosse stick, who knows what the heck's going to happen,
right?
You know, and for them, it's been awesome to see what they've been able to do on a lacrosse field, picking up a stick for the first time in college. And if you don't want to try a new sport, it also shows you it's never too late.
Ruby Mason back behind cage to Ella Grace Gee. She is capable of some wizardry with the cross. And a shooting space will be the foul here.
First free position look for the Knights today.
No, they had one on the opening.
Was a goal
yeah, there you go.
on that far hash. So this is their second. We'll see. Do they opt to pass? You see the players stacked on the near side of the field.
Ruby Mason, very creative with the ball. She elects to go back to Ashlyn Gray, who did have that free position goal earlier. Didn't mean to step on your toes there, partner.
No problem, Joey. And that's a tough break. A pass forced inside. Ball goes out of play.
Back to Stedham. And Siena Heights content to wind this clock down. End of the Q number 1. Marian, once tied, now on a 3-goal run to end the first 15. We'll be back with you shortly after the break. You're watching the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference Tournament on ISC.
At Indiana Members Credit Union, we're invested in more than just your finances. We're invested in your future, the future of your family, the well-being of the community you live in, and in those who dream big. Until those dreams become a reality, any bank can give you a loan or open an account. At IMCU, we care about more than just dollars and cents. We care about doing things that make sense. And investing in you makes good sense to us.
Does your school offer high-quality education? Does it offer virtual or hybrid options? Marian University Preparatory School educates students in a safe, faith-based environment focused on college and career exploration. Here at Marian University Preparatory School, we empower parents and help students to master what they love and learn as they live. We are now enrolling students in grades 6 through 9 this fall. Full financial aid packages are still available. Act now to make MU Prep your school for 2022.
So far, so good for the Knights. They have been steely in that first quarter, and now on to the second. Alongside Harrison Silcox, Joey Lindstrom, your impressions of that first 15 minutes?
I would say, kind of break it up into some segments. The first 5 minutes that we had, it was, Marian settled into the game early, but it was a little bit dicey. Siena Heights, they got a little fortunate with their first goal today. Jenna Alley tied it up at 2 apiece. I'd say the next 5 minutes of that wasn't too much going on. A little bit sloppy in the clear. Teams maybe trying to figure each other out a little bit. But the last 5 minutes, you mentioned it, Joey, it seemed like Marian started to figure out what Siena Heights was doing defensively. They were able to manufacture a couple looks, find some cutters in transition, make Siena Heights pay for some turnovers, some failed clears. So I really just felt like Marian started to put their stamp on this game at the end of the first quarter. Now the challenge is for the Knights, how do you do that for the next 3? Right, as a coach, you're probably telling, if you're Allie Stork-Snead, you're probably saying, all right, more of that. Don't let this team back in it. Put the foot on the gas pedal. And if you're Siena Heights, I think the big thing for them, start small. You want to maybe try and win this quarter. A lot of that starts at trying to figure out some way to get some continued success at the draw circle, and then find ways to take care of the lacrosse ball, especially in transitions. They've been hurt badly there when they've had mistakes, and they're going to have to clean that up if they want to try and come back in this one. It's only 3 goals, so it's not anything that's insurmountable. But Marian, it felt like, really started to put the foot on the gas pedal there at the end of the first.
They were able to take advantage of a few different moments where clears were unavailable for Siena Heights, and Marian takes over. Both teams relatively close on turnovers. Both have 5 caused turnovers, but Siena Heights one more turnover by their lonesome than Marian. Both teams relatively even on clears as well. This is Dumke working against Pringle in the circle once again. Dumke has done well to control the draws here in the circle today. 6-2 the advantage for the Knights so far, with the opening draw plus the 7 others after the goals. But on a violation here, this will head the way of the Saints. Alexa Mata in her 5th season. Her team turning it over here in transition.
That's great work by Ella Grace Gee on the ride there, recognizing when the official was going to reset play and then immediately jumping in, getting a stick on the ball, knocking that pass down. I was just about to say, Joey, see if Siena Heights can take advantage of the violation of the draw circle, and not even able to set up offensively, is now because of the hustle play from Geed, they're on the other end and looking to make it a 4-goal advantage.
Caitlin Gray off to her sister, Ashlyn. She'll work from up top to try to dodge. Off inside to Farkas, who looks for Newell. It's Katie Murphy on the run, and over top the cage, but backed up nicely by Ruby Mason. The sophomore will take it out from X. The winner of this game will head to, well, actually, it's pretty cut and dry. If Marian wins this game, they head to Indiana Tech. If Siena Heights wins this game, they head to Lawrence Tech. The lowest seed heads to the highest seed remaining.
And when you get to the top of the WHAC, I mean, it's a crowded field. You could argue between Marian, Indiana Tech, Lawrence Tech, all three of those schools, competing to win this conference. Obviously, you win the conference, you make it out to the national tournament. So there's a lot on the line in this tournament. You have 3 teams who all have their eyes on that WHAC trophy, all have their eyes on getting to the national tournament.
It'll be at Memorial Stadium this season, once again in Savannah, Georgia. It was there in 2021. Siena Heights made it to that tourney and played the eventual national champion Kaiser. They were the 8 seed playing the 1 seed. It's a tough draw. In this league, if the resumes stand to improve a little bit more, could be a 2-bid league. There's one league that always gets 2 every season, and it's variable. Working through, that's Allie trying to dodge, and she'll go to the 8-meter on the free position.
And that's her bread and butter, getting to that 8-meter fan. 12 free position goals this season, just under 50% when she does get these looks. Early in the season, she was very efficient from the fans. She's missed a couple of games here late in the year, but that's as good of a look as you're going to get from that middle hash.
Nicely done by Hirsch to gather that save. KJ Hirsch, forever the vocal leader on defense, the dominant voice. Ton of minutes. She's saving the shots that she needs to this season, according to Allie Stork-Sneed. Now, pushing in transition. Here come the Knights once again. It's Ruby Mason. And they are content to settle and get into their half-field set. What do you feel like makes this Marian offense so hard to defend?
Well, there's so many players who can beat you in a variety of ways, right? We saw them get on the board with a free position look. We've seen them on their drives draw some of those free position looks, but also, assisted goals, another thing. They have a variety of girls who can get open off of cuts. They've got a variety of girls who can find those players and facilitate those passes inside in the catch and shoots. We saw Murphy in the first quarter on a tough catch and shoot be able to bury one. We've seen the stick skills from Geed in some unsettled situations, working inside where there's not a lot of room along that crease and still able to get a shot off. So, and then you just mentioned the ball movement there as well, and how, Allie Stork-Sneed is just so big on keep that ball moving, keep it hot, keep it hot. That just is constantly making the other team's defense have to move, have to have their head on a swivel, constantly thinking. And when you have them constantly moving like that, the chances are that they lose somebody, off ball. The chances are that, they turn their head to look where the ball is for a split second, and then whoever they're defending, right, cuts inside, it gets open. It just creates more opportunities if everybody's in sync and their sets offensively to just find players who are open. So it's a good mix of players who understand each other, what they're doing off ball, and then the players who can help facilitate that when the ball is in their stick, and then also knowing the right time when, hey, here's an opportunity for you to drive to the goal and maybe draw a foul or get a shot off as well. So there's just so many different ways that they can execute on offense, and it just makes them that much harder to stop.
Spoken like a true lax rat.
I try to do what I can, but there it is right there, right? got the player awareness to know where the space is, and then your player from behind the goal to feed that. I believe it's Katie Murphy who just gets that open space, catches it, immediately is going to get a look at a free position.
Yep, shooting space violation there in Siena Heights. We'll welcome Murphy to the 8-meter. 30-degree angle for you. As she shoots and scores, Katie Murphy. Her second of the day, 44th on the season. A 6-2 lead, 4-goal nod here for Marian in the second quarter.
It also helps when you have players like Katie Murphy, experienced, come over from Butler to join this team. And, one thing that she knows how to do is put the ball in the back of the net.
Oh, it's a player that didn't get a good amount of playing time at Butler, but with the talent pool that they had in that program starting out, when she got started there, she didn't have the opportunities that maybe she would have been afforded here at Marian to really shine like she has this season. So this transfer has really worked out for her and for Marian. They're better for it.
Yeah, and you talk about this team and the experience that brings, the blend of youth and experience that they now have. And they had that even without Murphy, but to bring her in, it's just another dynamic to this offense. And it's also, right, experience can really show up in the postseason when it's do or die, right? This is your season. If they lose, it could be their last of the year. So when you have that experience to come in, and I'm sure it helps calm the nerves a little bit. And she's been playing lacrosse for a long time at a variety of different levels, and it's really worked out for her for this transfer out to Marian, and like you said, worked out for Marian too.
That was the biggest challenge too for Allie Stork-Snead and company, not having just 3 to 4 players like they did a year ago. Now you have 6 or 7 that can really put the ball in the back of the net this season. So it really feels like they have potential to make a deep run. As Allie works through, that one maybe got checked on the way up, or way down rather, towards the cage, and it's backed up by Siena Heights. Catherine Androwski loses it on the end line, and it's a turnover back to the Knights.
That's good work from Sarah Travis. It's a couple of times here in the second quarter, Joey, where Marian's recognized when plays restarted by the official. They immediately put pressure on the ball, and it's resulted in a couple of turnovers as well.
Ella Grace Geed off the feed from Gray, finds a cutter, and Ruby Mason can't quite handle it at her feet.
That's a tough one. Mason just completely unmarked, cutting from that far side. Just, maybe the pass could have been a little bit better. Mason got a stick on it. Would have been a good chance to get a look on cage. But most importantly, aside from not scoring, they do keep the ball. They can settle into this possession here and just continue to settle in this game. It's been 4 unanswered for the Knights. Is this offense really starting to click?
Bozeman inside, looking for Ella Grace Geed. And skipped up nicely there by Melissa Bacco. And Bacco on the run here for Siena Heights. Tries to get it off to Brown. Can't quite handle that ball. Siena Heights' woes in the clearing game continue to plague them early in this game. And a clock discrepancy rather, is the live call here.
Chance for Siena Heights, catch their breath. Androwski finishing off the clear. And if you're the Saints, the biggest thing here is just don't panic, right? Continue to settle in on offense. Know what your game is. Try to execute. Try to get looks on cage. We saw them get looks on cage in the first quarter. Catherine Hirsch made a couple of big stops for Marian. But if you're Siena Heights, you just continue to do what you did in the first quarter. Hopefully you can try and build some momentum off that. So we've got a whistle here. and it's a free position that'll come up. So this is what I'm talking about, right? Just settle into your offense. You never know what kind of opportunities you're going to be able to find. There's no need to hit the panic button and start to stray from your game a little bit, and this is one that the Saints could really use.
This is Danielle Turner winding up and ripping a shot home to give the Saints their third goal of the game. Nicely done by Danielle Turner, her 20th goal on the season. And that's power, too.
Yeah, the Saints needed that. Step into one from the hash. Fire from distance. Better have a good shot placement as well. Hirsch not able to get a stick on it. And for Siena Heights, that's exactly how you want to respond in this game. You know, one goal at a time. It's not going to happen all at once.
Off stick side, by the way. It's good placement.
Absolutely. One of the hardest saves for a goalie to make. Right? Talk about coaches love a good bounce shot, changing planes with your shot, but off stick, off hip, it's good shot location. It's just the hardest for the goalie to track and then also move their body over to that area. It's kind of the longest trip that they have to make from that top hand going down to that opposite side hip. And draw control, this would be huge if it can stay in play.
It does end up staying in play. Nicely done. Sophia Baugh on the run now for Siena Heights.
And so the players kind of freeze. I think they weren't sure if that ball went out of play or not. And no whistle. So it's huge for Siena Heights just to rack a couple of consecutive possessions together here.
Good ground ball by Brown and a better save there from her. She scoots it to Katie Murphy, and Marian's back on the run.
That's great work by Hirsch. Tough save, in tight, quick outlet. No pressure on the clear. Transition opportunity.
It's Murphy trying to split defenders, and a foul incoming. We'll set up another free position for Katie Murphy, and that's just the thing about women's lacrosse at times. If you're trying to penetrate through two defenders and you get some contact, there's a chance that you could, maybe like basketball for some of our first-time lacrosse viewers, you can just go to the free throw line and have a chance for another goal as Murphy's shot goes wide. And maybe slightly uncharacteristic. We're not used to seeing Katie Murphy miss the cage like that. Everybody's got to have that one. Get it out of your system.
That's why you got a couple of players behind the goal for the shot back up. You never know. Keep possession on this end. Right, possession's a super valuable thing in lacrosse. Obviously, the other team can't score if you're the one who has the ball. You got that full 90-second shot clock in women's lacrosse. You can work as much of that as you can while continuing to just be efficient, pick your spots on offense like Marian is today. It's a hard recipe to stop if you're an opponent.
It's Delaney Coles working through and getting a shot to go. Boy, it didn't look promising at first, but she started that dodge. She gets hands free. Sends that goal top shelf.
That's great work from Delaney Coles. Not exactly a crazy high goal scorer this season, but you just look at the fake roll back in the crease, gets the defender to bite on it, goes back to the middle. Patient on when she's going to get that shot off as well. Not the likeliest goal scorer on the field, but the freshman with a big one there to stifle any momentum that the Saints could have gotten from that last goal. And back in front by 4 is Marian.
Yeah, the freshman from Brownsburg. Close here to Indianapolis, and that's really the specialty that Allie Stork-Snead has. Spent so much time coaching both at Butler and then as a club coach here in Indianapolis, in the Indy Metro club team. Experience in the Indy area. She's friends with all the Indianapolis girls high school coaches, so she has free reign to stop at any high school, and if you know Allie, she will happily chat with you for as long as you so desire. She is the best and just a light to be around. Ruby Mason gains this ball here from Marian. Will control back behind the cage with Ella Grace Geed. On this possession, Marian holds a 4-goal lead. Led 5-2 at the end of the first quarter. You mentioned the shot clock in the men's game. It's turned over to 60 seconds. So it's created a lot more action particularly in the midfield, and transition game has become more important, but the girls' game has been able to sort of slow down in response and really settle into more of a fundamental look at the entire scope of the field and the game.
And I didn't mind that look inside there for Marian. It just Geed on the ride again. This ride for Marian's been relentless today.
Open net, essentially for Ella Grace Geed, because on that shot fake, gets Stedham looking and sends it home. It's a 5-goal lead for the Knights.
That's all Grace Geed. I mean, bookends it with the stop and the goal. And that's just fantastic. The sophomore really putting her mark on this one as Geed just gets a hold of the ground ball, blows by a defender. And I mean, just great work inside. Gets the goaltender to bite low to her left with the vision, the head fake before she buries it home up top. And Joy, we got a timeout on the field. Siena Heights going to try to circle the wagons.
And with that, we will also take a timeout here on ISC Sports Network. Be back with you in a moment. And welcome you back to St. Vincent Field, Marian University. Harrison Silcox, Joey Lindstrom, Ellie Stork-Sneed, and Zoe Law, both graduates of Butler University across the way here in Indy, bringing their talents, their coaching talents, that is, to Marian. Allie has been on staff for 6 seasons, and now her 4th season at the helm of this ship. On the opposite side, Alexa Mata in her 5th season, previously coached at the high school level at West Ranch High School in Santa Clarita, California. Last year, Siena Heights said a year that they would look upon and say we've improved because they finished 5-10, finished 6th in the Wolverine Hoosier. In 2022, they had their best season under Alexa Mata, went 10-9 and 7-2 in conference, tied for 2nd. In 2021, they won the conference tournament, got into the NAIA National Championship tourney in Savannah that season. It's back in Savannah once again. And that same year, they also recorded their first WHAC Offensive Player of the Year and NAIA All-American when Marissa Serino, who's now an assistant coach on Siena Heights, got both those awards. In that same season, Coach Mata tallied 6 All-Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference selections and 8 All-Academic students. But an Indiana Tech alum, she finds herself back in the WHAC, coaching her 5 seasons now, and her team down 5 goals in this one. Draw controls have nearly evened out. It's 7-5, and the advantage goes to the Knights of Marian. But this time, it's Siena Heights winning the draw, thanks to the nice ground ball work there of Danielle Turner.
You mentioned draw control starting to even out a little bit, where Siena Heights has run into some problems is what they've done with the ball after draw controls. We've seen a couple times turnovers immediately following a win out of the draw circle, but here able to earn the possession, and Allie able to earn herself another look at a free position. So one that Siena Heights could really take advantage of here if she's able to bury it home.
And this will be a yellow card for Marian off the check there from Madison Dumke.
So with it being a yellow card, it'd be interesting if Allie decides to maybe not shoot here, pass out, set up the offense a little bit of the woman up, or just go straight for goal.
And she does just that. Allie gets home and gives Siena Heights their 4th goal.
That's good work on the cradle here again. We've seen this a couple times from both teams today. It's Allie this time around, as you're going to see in the cradle here, how she protects the ball from any incoming stick checks. As you see, Gray tried to knock it free there, and she just cradles away from her stick and then is able to open up the face of the stick to get that shot off on the inside. And that's really good work from Allie on a free position look, just a sophomore, but she knows how to take care of business when she gets to the 8-meter. And a goal that the Saints really need, back down to 4, Joey, and they're going to need a couple more offensive sets like that to get back into this one.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And by the way, I had my Maddie's mixed up. Maddie Dumke goes by Madeline, so I apologize for that. And I will henceforth just call her Maddie.
Hey, names are
Madeline.
tough sometimes, Joe.
You know,
We've all been there.
We've been there.
In a press
Give us
box with a
break.
headset on, you know, we look at a lot of names in this business. They jumble together sometimes. We get it right at the end of the day.
Well, I'm glad that I have a partner that can forgive.
Always here for you.
Marian has a 4-goal advantage thanks to the efforts of Ella Grace Geed and company. On the opposite end of the bracket, it's a spicy one in the 4-5 matchup. Concordia, the 4 seed, and Bethel, the 5 seed, are in a tie game, 10-10 in the fourth quarter, about 1:30 to go. So we will have the score ready for you when we get that final. Gray spinning around, and that ball got checked away. Off the shot from Gray, slowed it down and redirected. But it's Farkas to back it up. Back to LA Grace Geed. Under 4 to play in this first half.
With that shot deflection, there's no reset on the shot clock. So that's huge there, as it looked like Gray was going to get a fantastic look on Cage. It was a great rollback away from the ball. Now, look inside.
Yeah, Murphy can't quite handle that pass. Defended well by Siena Heights and Ava Lasareski. Up to Turner. Siena Heights, even with numbers. It's Turner on the run and a save from Hirsch. Nicely done by KJ Hirsch, standing tough in between the sticks.
That's fantastic work. Pressure was on in transition. Unsettled opportunity for Siena Heights. Hirsch saw it the whole way through. That would have been the first time the Saints scored back-to-back goals this afternoon, Joey. But Hirsch with the huge denial in transition, and Marian can get back to settling things down a little bit on offense here. She's talking about the efficiency on the clear. Marian's able to kind of pick a couple passes in the process as they work it downfield. With Siena Heights, it's been a little bit more kind of like put your head down, get it to the offensive end sort of style. Sometimes it's resulted in turnovers, though, but that time nearly wound up with the ball in the back of the net, if not for Hirsch.
Murphy inside, back to Gray, and another save. Equally as impressive there by Lucy Stedham. Just over 2 to play. These goalies are dialed in on these last few possessions.
Yeah, Gray's gotten a couple of looks here in the last few minutes, Joey. One of those is a deflection on the way to the cage. That time it was Stedham making a fantastic stop. As Gray's working hard to get open off the ball, but defensively, Siena Heights is there to keep it out from the goal line. But more issues on the clear here. And this is just what Siena Heights can't have, is problems in transition.
They're clearing about 70% right now.
Delaney Cole's back out onto the field. Ashlyn Gray getting a breather on the sideline.
Well deserved, by the way. He's been putting in that work. Ruby Mason off to Ella Grace Geed, and this dominant sophomore continues to impress.
Yeah, Geed for me, I mean, she's been the player of this first half.
How about Caitlin Gray working through, and she gets fouled on the way in.
But Geed has really done it all. I mean, fantastic work in the ride, forcing some turnovers. She's gotten looks on the inside. She's been able to finish on them. But, I mean, it's just the supporting cast of players around her as well is really what makes this team click offensively.
Great, charging towards the cage. Another save from Stedham. How about Lucy Stedham, her 5th save of the day. And can Siena Heights work this clear with a minute left in the first half?
If you're the Saints, you really want to get a successful clear here. See if you have time to get a goal before you head into the halftime locker room. That'd be huge momentum-wise. Cut this thing back down to 3.
It's Jenna Alley with good legs to get down there.
That's great work from Allie, navigating that pressure, finding an outlet pass, and Pringle as well.
30 to play in the first half, but a turnover for Siena Heights. Nicely done to check that away and get it back for the Saints. A good defense. Mallory Miranda, really one of the captains of this group, kind of the inside of that backer zone, or backer hybrid zone, if you want to call it that. Siena Heights has to get some quick work here. Allie has to be careful about the dangerous follow through. She gets fouled. Will they have her get the free position before the end of the half? I believe they will. They will. They're going to hold play for a second here and discuss.
Yeah, so curious, right? When did the foul happen? If it did happen, was it before the clock expired? So we'll get word from the official here.
And it looks like they are going to set up Jenna Alley to have a free position. Right, dead center in front of KJ Hirsch. This could be big for the momentum building here for Siena Heights right before the half.
And she's going to have to get this shot off quickly, Joey. Just 1 second's been added to the game clock. I mean, you talk about what this could do momentum-wise for both of these teams. It's going to be a shot from distance, but Allie's got the room to fire.
Alley over top the cage. It looked good on the way out, but we end at 8-4 after the first half of action. And Harrison Silcox, I turn to you for your first half impressions.
Really, for Marian, I thought they did a nice job settling into this game. We've seen a couple turnovers. Really, the biggest mistake that I would circle down was that Catherine Hirsch own goal in the awkward cradle. You know, that gave Siena Heights their first goal of the game. Jenna Alley was able to tie it at 2 apiece. You know, how are they going to respond? Siena Heights going to be able to hang with them there in that first half, but a lot of maturity is what I saw from Marian to kind of weather that early flurry of goals, especially one of those just coming on a very awkward, strange mistake. For them to handle that, got their lead up to 5 goals at one point. So this is a team that in that first half really felt like they meant business. They knew their game. They weren't going to panic after that shaky start. And it's shown with a 4-goal lead going into halftime.
Nicely done by both sides. An 8-4 lead for Marian where we end after the first 30. We'll be back with you in a minute here on ISC Sports Network, our halftime show.
Still waiting? You could have been seen by an orthopedic specialist at Ortho Indy Urgent Care. Avoid the wait, cost, and drama of the ER. Ortho Indy Urgent Care. Orthopedic care without the drama. Find a location near you. Still waiting? You could have been seen by an orthopedic specialist at Ortho Indy Urgent Care. Avoid the wait, cost, and drama of the ER. Ortho Indy Urgent Care. Orthopedic care without the drama. Find a location near you.
Pepsi's always had great taste. Today, try great taste with zero sugar. This is the Pepsi with zero compromises. This is Pepsi Zero Sugar.
There's something that may surprise you about Marian University. It's not our Catholic faith or our Franciscan values. It's not our 5,000 students or our diversity. It's not Marian's championship athletics or our Indianapolis location. It's that Marian is home to Indiana's only college of osteopathic medicine. Marian, Indy's Catholic University.
Welcome to The Deal, a podcast dedicated to maximizing name, image, and likeness opportunities. You'll hear from student athletes, coaches, and athletic administrators on how NIL partnerships can impact individuals and the schools they attend. It all comes down to making the best deal.
At Indiana Members Credit Union, we're invested in more than just your finances. We're invested in your future, the future of your family, the well-being of the community you live in, and in those who dream big. Until those dreams become a reality, any bank can give you a loan or open an account. At IMCU, we care about more than just dollars and cents. We care about doing things that make sense. And investing in you makes good sense to us.
Welcome you back to St. Vincent Field at Marian University alongside Harrison Silcock's Joey Lindstrom. It is 8-4 at the end of the first half in favor of the Marian Knights. The winner will go on to either play Lawrence Tech if Siena Heights can pull out the victory, and Marian would go on to play Indiana Tech if they are to win today. On the opposite side of the bracket, it is Concordia and Bethel, and they are tied at overtime. 10-10 between Concordia and Bethel. A huge matchup, which would only help determine matchups for the next round for either of these teams, of course. Regardless, though, there is a match here to be had, and we have some stats for you at halftime. So far, Marian leads in the shots on goal category, 12-8. Both goalkeepers have 4 saves. And Marian leads in the draw controls category as well, 8-6. Each team equal with 5 fouls. Both teams committing a good amount of turnovers and are offenders of themselves. But Siena Heights leads that category 13-12. And cause turnovers, both teams are even at 10-10. The leading goal scorer for Marian is Ella Gray-Skeed with 3 goals and 1 assist. Caitlin Gray has 2 goals. Katie Murphy has 2 goals, and Ashton Gray has 1 assist as well. On the Siena Heights side, it is Jenna Alley with 2 goals so far, Pringle with 1, and Danielle Turner with 1 as well. And so far, so good for both sides, and this has been an entertaining matchup, Harrison. And before we send the folks to another break before we get back, what kind of things are you impressionable about when it comes to both sides' offenses, as it were?
I'll start with Siena Heights. I think Jenna Alley has been huge this game. Just a sophomore, in this postseason play, season on the line, every game here on out. And I think Allie's really come to play. She's been aggressive with her drives. I think she's also driven at the right time. And when she has gotten her looks at free positions, she's been able to capitalize as well. I just think a lot of the work that Allie's been able to do when the ball gets into her stick has really helped Siena Heights stay in this game enough to maybe pull something out, pull off an upset in the second half. And then the other side for Marian, I mentioned before we went to the last break, just the maturity shown from the team in the first half, but just also the variety of players who can contribute on offense. It's such a threat to have. We've seen them score when it's been settled opportunities, they're just running their offense. We've also seen them when it's a little bit unsettled and you've got failed clears and you have players who know how to capitalize in those situations as well. So when you've got 3, 4, 5 different girls who can work together and facilitate and run an offense the way that their coach wants it to be run, you wind up with an 8-4 lead headed into halftime in a game where your season's on the line, playing in the WHAC conference tournament. So you talk about Marian's offense, it's just the variety of players they have who can make a difference when it comes to what goes up on the scoreboard.
And maturity has certainly shown this year is a Hayes in the barn mentality because of all the graduate students and seniors they have. This has been a wonderful first half. Second half on the way back right here on ISC Sports Network.
There's something that may surprise you about Marian University. It's not our Catholic faith or our Franciscan values. It's not our 5,000 students or our diversity. It's not Marian's championship athletics or our Indianapolis location. It's that Marian is home to Indiana's only college of osteopathic medicine. Marian, Indy's Catholic University.
This is the Pepsi for America's best barbecue. Worthy of 100-mile detours and 1,000 likes. Looks good. This is the Pepsi for mopping, dipping, and dousing. Whatever you're craving, this is the Pepsi for you. This is the Pepsi for serious fans and serious eats. This is the Pepsi for Sundays at the ballpark and days off at your favorite pizza joint. Right, Aaron?
Best slice in New York.
Whatever you're craving, this is the Pepsi for you.
Marian leads 8-4. So far, so good for the Knights. And Harrison, it has been a clinic from the free position. Marian has been really clinical in that spot. 2 for 4, but as has Siena Heights. But really the transition game is where Marian has lived in some of these highlights.
Yeah, and you see here, too, I mean, you're going to see a lot of passes to players as well as his team's did a good job keeping their head up, finding cutters off ball. And that's just good play on the ISO by Gray. As this team, they've scored in a variety of ways. And the free positions has really been what's helped the Saints stay in this game.
There's a general sense that both teams are more than content to dodge to try to go gain fouls and try to get in a spot where they can go take a goal. But then you get into spots like that where if you're turning the ball over, it leaves you a little bit wounded and vulnerable for the opposite team to take advantage. And we've seen that on both sides.
Yeah, I see a couple saves from the goalies here. I want to mention Stedham for the Saints. She's done a good job of keeping this game from getting a little bit more out of hand than what it could have been. She made some huge stops there in the second quarter, Joey. And we'll see what's in store for the second half.
If you've got keys ready to go, what do you think for each side? Maybe just one each side.
Yeah, I think to start with the Saints, big things, just take care of the ball a little bit better, especially out of the clears. That's a huge key for this one. And then for the Marian Knights, big key is just to stay the course. Keep doing what you're doing. It's obviously worked so far, and don't be content. Know that there's still a job to be done. There's still 2 quarters to go in this one, and that 4 goals, not the biggest lead in the world. So just stay the course, do what you did in the first half, and you'll be on to the next round of the WHAC.
Marian is ranked 9th in the NAIA, and they are in good form to try to reach that top 8. Their 5 losses this season have all been against teams in the top 10, well, really the top 7 at the time. They even lost that opener to University of Cumberland's, losing by 1 in the first game of the year. They lost to Kaiser by 5, Indiana Tech by 2, and Lawrence Tech by 5 this past weekend. And they were really remiss. As you see, Bethel has just defeated Concordia, so that guarantees. There's still a minute. Oh, I forgot. Excuse me. I didn't see the little clock there. Thank you to Vince Morellis in our truck for correcting me. Got to get my eyes checked, apparently. But a good spot to be if you are Bethel.
That is the final.
That is the final. Okay.
Now, overtime, first goal wins.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was sudden death. Vince got in my head.
Yeah, hey.
Yeah.
It happens.
It did say a minute on the clock, so that's totally fair. We were both ready and set to go here at St. Vincent Field. Our game will have a spot of excitement, a little bit of drama and intrigue coming for you right here on ISC Sports Network. It's scooped right away on the draw by Sophia Baugh.
And there's the issue right there is just Siena, you get that draw control for Siena Heights, and the turnover immediately follows. And the Knights have been very good on their clear so far today. They've had a couple mishaps here and there, but when you give up the ball straight off a draw control, oh, there's tough turnover there.
Ella Grace Key losing the handle on that ball. And Siena Heights turning it back over as Jenna Alley, 2 goals in that first half. Sweeping through, contact, and she will head to the 8-meter.
And this is a tough performance from Jenna Alley. She has taken several stick checks. She's been knocked down a couple of times. This sophomore really trying to will her team. to get a little bit closer on the scoreboard, and she's battling through some contact in the process. You got to give a lot of props to Allie, who's getting another look at a free position.
Allie charging through, dunking home. Jenna Allie, a hat trick. Nicely done by 2 there to get her third. Siena Heights maybe remiss at the end of that first half to not have her get a goal on the free position that she had. But she gets another crack at it and makes it count.
Yeah, and that's good work from her as you get another look back at the goal. And you got to remember, she earned that spot on the hash on a dodge inside, weaved through multiple defenders before she got knocked down. So she's on the free position, fan. You know, when she's on that 8-meter, she's earned that spot. She's earned those positions. She's put herself in a position to put one on goal. And when she gets those chances, a lot of times she's been able to bury them. Very efficient on free position looks today. She's been able to get to that fan plenty of times this afternoon. And, I mean, she has been the best part of this Saints offense today. And just a sophomore trying to bring him back in this one.
And Siena Heights has already exceeded their last goal total against Marian, played here last month on St. Vincent Field. El Grace Guide maybe they had a little bit of a lane there. And likes to pull back out. This is a Marian team more than comfortable with moving the ball around. This time they get a cutter to go. Ashlyn Gray.
That's fantastic work from Ashlyn Gray. Traffic up top. You cut around it, trying to gain a step on your defender. Gray does just that. What a great way to just get a goal back quickly, to get that lead back up to 4. And that's how an experienced team responds, right? The Saints cut the lead down to 3. You know, what's the feeling going to be? And it's Guide who picks out Gray. Defender can't keep up, and the Knights get their first goal of the second half.
Gray, the all-time leader in draw controls at Marian, and she has been not relieved of that duty today. She just hasn't been in the center of the circle. She's been outside. Tori Fargus will take it here for Marian. We're going against Emily Pringle, who is 6th on the all-time goal leaders list for Siena Heights. He's heading into this season. Likely to move up towards the end of the year. Today would be a great day for more goals here for Pringle and the Siena Heights Saints. There she is. Thought about the shot. Takes one, and it's wide.
Say Pringle's been a little bit quiet this afternoon, but a good look there.
Got the 1 goal, 1 assist so far on 3 shots.
Just pressure defensively from Marian, forcing that turnover, that pass to go awry, and then here we go in transition.
It's Ruby Mason up to Ashlyn Gray. As she will work around Cage, looking for cutters. I think she saw Talia Newell. Instead finds Murphy. Oh, Murphy thought about it. A shooting space violation, though.
Yep, nice shot from Murphy to recognize her defender was kind of caught in no man's land a little bit, so looking a free position here off the shooting space.
Yeah, Lazareski, the guilty party there. Murphy charging towards the cage. Again, goes opposite stick side. A convincing goal by Katie Murphy. And a hat trick for number 20 as well.
And that's that lacrosse IQ paying off to get to the 8-meter. And the good shot placement as well. Tuck it inside the pipe. Knights get a couple in a row. Leads back up to 5.
Took a bit of a tough hit there as well.
Yeah, she's headed to the sideline, but body language would appear that she's all right, celebrating with some teammates. Joey Murphy fired up after that one.
Alexa Mata's team finds themselves down by 5, the largest lead of the game for Marian. Caitlin Gray on the run once again. What a beautiful pass inside, and Ruby Mason to dunk home.
Well, you asked me, what I was impressed with Marian in that first half. It's the variety of options that this team has on offense. Mason's been quiet. She scored 31 goals in the season coming into this game. Gets her first here in the second half. And it's all just players knowing where their teammates are, knowing how to find them. As you get a look back at the pass into space for Mason to run into it, catch and shoot all day long, the Knights will take that.
How about Gray? A beautiful spot to be in. That's her second assist of the day. 2 goals already. Reset there in the draw, and we're off and running. Picked up nicely by Sophia Baugh. And a quick restart. Favoring Siena Heights, and it's Fuentes charging towards that right side. Here's Brown. Siena Heights, 6 wins under its belt this season. 3 of those in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. They just beat Aquinas in a convincing victory on Saturday. They knew it was going to be a tall order today, but Alexa Mata's crew had a feeling that they would just need to go on a run, and Marian's actually been the benefactor of a run so far. As there's a quick foul.
I see Siena Heights to try to get going early on that reset to try and find that pass out of the far wing. Officials want to make sure everything's sorted out before play starts again. As we've got one coming up to the scores table off camera. I think we may have another clock issue, Joey, that needs to get sorted out.
We can live with that. 11:19 remaining in the third quarter. Turner. Trying to look for somebody inside, and it is rattled around and finally picked up by Marian. Up to Farkas. Up with Ella Grace Geed and Ashlyn Gray, along with Ruby Mason. Talea Newell will trail and try to be the cutter there, as it were, for Ella Grace Geed. Instead, she finds Gray wide of the cage, but backed up by Ruby Mason.
And Joey, this is a moment in this game where you kind of feel like whoever gets the next goal is going to be a huge momentum swing. If you're the Saints, you really don't want to let one up here to Marian and just let them really start to run away with this thing. They've really started to be more aggressive both offensively and defensively here in the third. And just 5 minutes into it, but this offense for Marian feels like it's starting to roll a little bit. You want to get some control back if you're the Saints. And that's one way to do it. They're getting a nice stop defensively.
Yeah, nice cause turnover there by Siena Heights. Can prove to, hopefully for the Saints, produce something good in transition. Up to Allie.
And Allie, she's been the party starter. She's been the catalyst of this offense. See how early she wants to go on a drive.
More than comfortable driving, and that was going to be the biggest point of emphasis today for Allie Stork-Snead's squad.
That's a good
putting her in position, not be able to drive so easily.
Yeah, and it was a good work on a double team there from Marian to just know when Allie was going to roll back. Dumke was there to close off anything on any sort of potential read dodge style type of move. And Another possession coming up here empty for the Saints.
Yeah, this time Brown unable to handle that pass. That's a spot you don't want to be in if you're Alexa Mata. And your team finding themselves turning the ball over in their own end. In their attacking end, rather.
This game getting a little bit more physical here in the third as well. You had a couple players hitting the turf there. A little bit sloppy in the clear for Marian as well. Siena Heights wanting that early restart.
They get the turnover. Marian gets the turnover here. And they'll be off in transition once again. LeGray Skeed with Gray, Farkas, and Ruby Mason. And Ashley Gray giving chase. LeGray Skeed off to Murphy. Marian, you mentioned it at the halftime, this sort of veteran group growing each and every year in their maturity, finding themselves in a space where you talk to Allie Stork-Snead, they feel like this could be a season really to remember as far as the WHAC tournament is concerned and potentially the NAIA national tournament.
And this is, you know, second season, postseason. This is where all your work in the regular season, you want to build to your best lacrosse. When you get into April, try and play into May. Good look at a free position coming up.
Nicely shot on there, and it's not properly backed up, but Siena Heights closest to it. This is now Saints ball. A little bit of a struggle. That almost went in across the line. Well into the crease, but nicely done by Stedham to stop the bleeding in that particular sequence.
Yeah, clears have been a struggle today for Siena Heights. Very fortunate for them. That would have been one of the worst mistakes of all. It's not often you get an own goal in a game of lacrosse. Joey, we would have had two today had that gone through. But just as I'm talking about struggles on the clear for Siena Heights, they get a transition opportunity and cash in.
Catherine Androwski. 90% shot on goal, and that'll help when she had just the goalie to beat. And Siena Heights gets their sixth goal.
And the Saints really needed that one. You mentioned a few minutes ago how the next goal of this game was going to be huge just as far as momentum goes. It felt like Marian was getting close to possibly running away with this thing, and Allie with a nice pick out, finding Androwski. So the Knights fall asleep on the right a little bit. Turns into transition. Siena Heights a much-needed goal.
The NAIA poll for women's lacrosse comes out every couple of weeks, and Marian, of course, elected the 9th in that poll. A couple other Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference teams also well represented. The top two, Reinhardt and Cumberland's, that doesn't change too much. Lawrence Tech was number 1 for most of the season last year, the number 1 seed last year, and national champion. They're number 3. You have SCAD, Missouri Baptist, and Kaiser. Then you have Indiana Tech, Life, and Marian. Also thrown in there and receiving votes this year was Concordia, who falls to Bethel today. So a bit of an upset for the 5-seeded Bethel Pilots to take down Concordia, the Cardinals, in overtime. And because Bethel is the 5 seed, if Marian should win, they will go ahead and play at Indiana Tech up in Fort Wayne on Thursday. However, if Siena Heights is able to pull this out, they'll head to Lawrence Tech, and Bethel would head to Indiana Tech. Wouldn't be such a far drive. And a green card here on Anna Moore, her second of the day.
And these are moments where Siena Heights can continue to kind of just climb back into this game a little bit. Take it one goal at a time. You're going to be warming up for the next 60 seconds. So another chance to create some offense, get another goal on the board, put 2 in a row together. It's a matter of capitalizing on these opportunities, and that's not exactly the way to do it. First pass as soon as play restarts, going out of play. That's a tough turnover for Siena Heights. Jenna Alley looked for the first cut she saw, and that ball just deflected out on the inline.
Bit of a missed opportunity there in that particular sequence in the free position. Here's Ruby Mason on midfield. The Knights have been in form ever since Siena Heights went ahead and tied. Contact there for Siena Heights, and this will be Marian on the quick restart, but officials deliberating, putting Katie Murphy in the right spot.
And you got Anna Moore, who's still not on the field from that green card, so a chance for Marian to be patient here as Siena Heights just trying to press out defensively, force a turnover as we get back to even strength.
Gray inside, Ella Grace Geed. Already a hat trick today. This bouncer goes over the top the cage off of Caitlin Gray's shot. Backed up by Marian. Here's Tori Farkas sweeping through, and that was a check very close to the sphere, and that will be the verdict, sending Farkas on a free position.
Yeah, good work by Farkas, just getting to her space offensively. Draws another free position look.
And she's gearing up, Harrison, for a ripper.
Oh, yeah, you get the nice power cradle. See, she steps into one.
Ooh, what a save by Lucy Stedham. Nicely done to handle that one. Those are always tough. I think about the play that Charlotte North had in the 2022 National Championship for Boston College. I mean, a late free position goal that it was a flamethrower.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the winded fire on Charlotte North. I mean, just forget about it if you're a goalie.
Yeah, that's her trademark. Izzy Skane, a little bit more of a driver to the cage on her free positions for Northwestern, reigning national champion. But this is a sport that is continuing to gain some steam at the youth level, at the high school level,
yeah,
in the Midwest here.
Involved in lacrosse, always looking for all sorts of ways to grow the sport. Get it further out to the Midwest. It's been such an East Coast heavy sport for so long, especially on the men's side. But it is nice to be out here. It's been a great day. We've had some good lacrosse, Joey. And I mean, Marian, I'm really impressed with just how patient they've been and continue to be. And you know, you're talking about the national rankings a moment ago. As you said, team, when this offense is clicking, right, you see, you know, why they deserve to be ranked nationally. You know, forget about where they are on a map and all that, right? If you can play good lacrosse, it's got to be recognized. You're going to have chances to play in a national tournament. I mentioned this Siena Heights team. You know, they played in the title before. You know, they're coming out of Michigan. There's good lacrosse. These players are being found all across the country, getting a spotlight to show that. Is another free position coming up here for Marian.
I think about Lawrence Tech with the national title last season. Mm-hmm. A shot here, checked away and intercepted near the end line by Audrey Scott, the freshman from South Lyon, Michigan. Siena Heights working in transition once again. This ball popped up. Finds its way into the cross there of Ava Holland. Back to Turner from Pringle. Here's Allie. Beautiful move. And Allie gets the shooting space violation drawn, and that'll send her to the 8-meter spot where she's been
and she's
so far.
She's so good, Joey, at just finding ways to use her body to carve around defenders when she's going to drive to the goal.
That one off the crossbar and down.
And just a tough break. I mean, Allie doing everything that possession that she should to get a look on Cage, right? Drawing that free position look is how we're going to wind up getting a yellow card here. And Grace Holland You talk about a tough break getting even worse for Siena Heights. A shot off the crossbar, and now Highland's going to have to sit out for a couple of minutes at most, Joey. And get another look here. He just, right on the back of the head there, stick in a dangerous area.
I still think that helmets should be worn more. You know, you only see them one player on every team really wearing the helmet.
That's one of those questions that, you ask to people, you might get 10 different people, 10 different answers from it.
Yep.
On helmets or no helmets in that kind of conversation. But, the officials are going to call it as they see it. And unfortunately, right, you get that stick up in the head neck area. It's always going to be a cause for concern.
Women's lacrosse, forever a little bit more finesse, not as much relying on the physicality as Grace Geed works through in another shooting space.
Good work from Geed to recognize, stick up. Just always trying to be a threat, shoot or pass when the ball's in your stick.
And she's gearing up. She's allowed to take that first step if she'd like to. Instead, she charges towards the cage. It gets a goal to go. And Marian doubles Siena Heights total once again.
And Ella Grace Geed has just been so nifty when she gets inside in these tight spaces near the crease. Watch this finish as she puts the stick across her body. See how it's in her right hand, but she's shooting kind of as she gets that top hand up in front of her face, and it's just a straight downward angle on the shot. It's so difficult for a goalie to track where that ball is going to release from. It's already difficult enough to try and make that save when it's such a point-blank look like that, but Ella Grace Geed with the body language, how she gets those shots off in tight, I mean, that's the quality finishing that you want to see, especially at this point in the season where you're trying to move on in the WHAC tournament. You want to capitalize on those chances, and she does. That leads right back up to 6.
Now 65 points for Ella Grace Geed. That is one of the tops in the country. Ashlyn Gray off to Murphy. Under 2 minutes to play in our third quarter. Marian a clear advantage. Was once tied 2-2 early. And the Knights have since stepped on the gas.
And late here in the third, you got that 6-goal lead. Right, if you're Marian, it's you want to find that balance of you want to push for more goals, secure this game, put it away, take care of the ball, but also just be patient on offense. The clock's your friend at this point. So you want to use that to your advantage.
Riley Bozeman's pass goes awry. Trying inside there to find Delaney Coles, the freshman. It's picked up nicely by Ava Lazareski. As Siena Heights tries to clear. It's scooped up by Ella Grace Geed. Off to Murphy. Got open players if she wants them, but Siena Heights retreats well to close those gaps. And Murphy goes top shelf, elevating.
Just a quick turn of the shoulders is how she eludes her defender. Watch it here. Boom. Plants her feet and goes. Top right corner all day for Murphy.
That's a sweet shot. Ella Grace Geed might have her on points, but Katie Murphy tops in the country in goals individually. That is 46 goals on the season now, with 4 today on 6 shots. She is just dealing. There's 42 seconds remain in our third quarter here at St. Vincent Field.
And time for maybe one more goal here in this quarter. Joey, you got to imagine both teams going to press to get one on net, regardless whoever wins this draw control. Obviously, the Saints need one to just get a little bit of momentum back heading into the fourth. If you're Marian, just trying to put this game away.
Siena Heights, good control there on the draw, and they're off and running on offense now. Can the Saints start to peel back into this deficit? A contact there from Jada Taylor, the midfielder, getting some good minutes today.
I'd expect a drive here, Joe. Oh, no. Allie looking inside. It's a great find on a cutter.
Yeah, it was.
We expected her to just drive and get a shot on goal here in the final seconds of this quarter, but it's going to wind up being a free position for Grace Holland, it looks like.
A sophomore from Adrian, Michigan, the hometown kid. She shoots, and another save by Hirsch. Hirsch hasn't had to be too active in this second half. She makes it count, though, on the shots that she does need to contend with. And Marian a 13-6 lead after 3. We'll be right back here on the ISC Sports Network.
Marian University is like a home to me.
Campus is where I made friends that I know will last a lifetime.
Academics, sports, or arts, Marian's got something for you.
Plus, downtown Indy is just 10 minutes away from campus.
I'm a huge sports fan. Living in Indy, I've got the Knights, the Colts, and the Pacers.
Applying was so fast and easy.
I went to Marian for the education, but what I took away was the experience.
Marian University offers an exceptional education and an unforgettable experience. Apply today for full scholarship consideration at marian.edu.
Still waiting? You could have been seen by an orthopedic specialist at Ortho Indy Urgent Care. Avoid the wait, cost, and drama of the ER. Ortho Indy Urgent Care. Orthopedic care without the drama. Find a location near you. Still waiting? You could have been seen by an orthopedic specialist at Ortho Indy Urgent Care. Avoid the wait, cost, and drama of the ER. Ortho Indy Urgent Care. Orthopedic care without the drama. Find a location near you.
A 5-2 run in the third quarter for Marian gives them the 7-goal advantage over Siena Heights, and the Saints trying to climb back in this fourth quarter alongside Harrison Silcox, Joey Lindstrom with you. The winner moves on in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference to the semifinals. If Marian is to win, they will play Indiana Tech, and if Siena Heights pulls out the victory, they'll head to Lawrence Tech, the defending national champion and #1 seed in the tournament. Marian was almost in that #2 spot, losing to Indiana Tech later in the year and then falling to Lawrence Tech. Had they won last weekend, they likely would have been in that #2 spot with a bye, but more than happy to work and try to get in this game. The attitude was that we have to bring a little more juice to this matchup because you don't want to overlook a team that you've beaten before earlier in the season.
Yeah.
And Allie Stork-Sneed and the rest of the team is, well, they are just, the vibes are high, just like that girl with the puppy. I mean, how could you not?
You can't go wrong when you throw a dog on camera. I mean, you just can't. How does that not make you smile?
Good choice by the crew. Shout out to the dad carrying the bags in the back pocket, by the way.
Yeah.
And you reusing the grocery bags.
Yeah, you never
underrated
know.
Value right
You never
there.
know it's going to be a #2 situation.
Especially with the pup.
You're not on your own property. You got to be ready at any time. So, yeah, props to him. You talk about being prepared for any sort of situation. That's how you do it.
Guessing that is the dad there of Anna Moore. She's on the sideline with the puppy. This is a Marian Knights team more than content with their lead right now, but this is a Siena Heights team that could also make they have a proclivity to make a run here should they desire, but it's been a tough in the transition game.
Yeah, I was
Both
going to
teams
say
clearing okay statistically. However, that seems to be the one spot that has plagued Siena Heights, those turnovers.
Yeah, if they are going to make that run, it's got to start with just taking care of the ball. It's a team they can get to their spots offensively, right? I mean, Marian's thrown what they could at Jenna Alley to try and slow her down. She's, still been a massive difference maker in this game. A lot of offense, I feel, has started with the ball in her stick, but it's just been those turnovers that have really hurt this Saints team. But a big win off the draw control. Now can they take care of the ball, Joey?
Siena Heights, a good possession here will do them some benefit as this one trickles past Hirsch, but it's a foul on the way in, and that pass received there by Ava Holland. She'll head to the 8-meter.
Mention Hirsch. I mean, she has come up big in the last couple of minutes of game time here. Had that huge save at the end of the third off a free position. Gets a deflection off that ball there, even though the foul was called.
And Hirsch stands tough. Sometimes feels like a penalty kick at times when you're that close and head up, and Hirsch stands real tough in between the sticks. Now in transition up to Marian and Tori Farkas. I'll skip up to Ashlyn Gray, the veterans that we've talked about in this game, lead the way for this team in a spot where they would love nothing more than to take their careers, or they've been with Allie Storksneed since their freshman season. They would love nothing more than to get over to the NAIA national title game. But, of course, with a win today, they have to get that past Indiana Tech. And if that's convincing enough, perhaps they get an at-large if they don't come out on top in the WHAC title game against perhaps Lawrence Tech, unless Bethel's able to pull out that upset, should that happen.
Late in the shot clock here. How quickly does Marian try to force one on Cage?
They do it here, and a nice save by Stedham. She's been pretty steady in between the pipes today.
Yeah, that was great awareness from Ashlyn Gray. Just realizing late in the shot clock, put the head down, drive to Cage, weaves through a couple of defenders to get a shot off, but Hirsch just a little bit, or Stedham rather, just a little bit more steady in between the pipes, ready for that shot. She's had a couple of big saves today as well.
This will be a green card on Siena Heights' Melissa Bacco. It's in our fair share of green cards today. Not so many yellows, not too many near flagrant, I suppose.
We really haven't seen, right, those woman up minutes that have been spent for either offense today really make a huge difference in the goal scoring department. First green card we saw on the day went against the Saints. Marian didn't even get a shot on goal. But it's just been something where, especially for the Knights, right, they're just comfortable in possessing the ball, being patient, getting to their spots, and tough hit there. I believe that's Caitlin Gray.
Yep, already going to be a foul to send Gray. And instead, this will be... Did the official get a yellow card out there?
I did not see a yellow card, but it is going to be a free position for Caitlin Gray. I think they're just trying to get her lined up at the proper hash.
Yeah, she started to move her hand
towards
pulling out the card.
Clearly took a bump, knocked her to the turf. So well-deserved free position. Look here.
And she gets it to go. A little bit of extra added on there from Siena Heights, but Gray puts it home. And the last thing you would like, she's a tough kid, is for someone to get hurt towards the end of a game.
Yeah, that's
at this juncture.
That's an awkward fall, and I think we are going to wind up seeing a yellow card here after that one, Joey. Hopefully, for Gray's case, that just knocked the wind out of her. I mean, you look here after, watch. You get the goal, and the shove at the end as she's trying to celebrate, and that is a tough fall for Gray. We hope she's all right. And for Sophia Bowe, she's going to have to sit out for a couple of minutes. As Gray, she's got the mask off. She's headed to the sideline. Hopefully she's all right, just jogging off in her own power. But, hey, you make tough plays in lacrosse, a lot of times you get rewarded. It was a tough play that got her on the look of the free position. She scores, takes a shot after, but her team's going to wind up with the ball. Woman up for 2 minutes.
And this will deem the following draw moot. And Marian will get the possession automatically because of the penalty. So here we go. Marian, a 14-6 lead Should this hold, they will play Indiana Tech in a rematch of just a couple weeks ago, where the Warriors were victorious over the Knights. That's going to be a matchup to be seen up in Fort Wayne. It's going to be the return of the Grays back up to Fort Wayne with their lacrosse careers on the line.
Yeah.
Farkas over to Talia Newell and back into Gray. Ruby Mason. One fell swoop and a good motion on Mason to catch that ball and immediately shoot.
Yeah, it's just the quick ball movement on the near side here. It's got the defense thinking a little bit. And Mason hits the dab, and she's skied for this catch here. As you just see the look inside, Mason jumps up, turn, shot, goal.
The dab is not dead.
It is not. It is alive and well. This Marian lacrosse team making a 9-goal lead.
Zoe Law saying, "Go ahead, you can do it." She's probably been prodding for that for weeks. I feel like this Marian team is more than ready to make a charge towards the championship.
Well, you start talking about that at Indiana Tech game, Joey, and it's begs the classic question: would you rather have that bye week, have that week off of rest, potentially might have to shake a little bit of rust off when you play the next game, or if you're Marian's sake, right, you could just continue to build off of what they've done today, where they just continue to play lacrosse, they can get through this game healthy. Which, if you're a coach, if you're a player, I mean, would you rather feel like, you're just going from one game to the next, or would you rather have that week of rest, might have to rebuild a little bit of chemistry out on the field?
Rest versus rust debate never gets old.
It never does.
Ella Gray-Skeed, by the way, had 6 goals in that game against Indiana Tech, in which Marian lost 12-10. And the rest of the goal scorers, those other 4, only had 1. So certainly not a lot of spread the wealth there mentality, as Allie gets her 4th of the day, speaking of high goal scorers.
And we're watching a player who's really got a future in this conference as well. It's not been Siena Heights' day, but Jenna Alley has just done a fantastic job on offense. Talk about a player who's always a threat when the ball's in her stick. She is the definition of that. She's got more than half of the goals today for Siena Heights. Done a lot of damage from the free position. She's been able to facilitate at times as well.
An attacker that, I think you're right. I think with her and Ella Grace-Geed, pretty good, formidable offensive players in this conference each and every year over the last few years and to come. Scad is always another that sticks out. Kaiser as well. At the national level for the NAIA, there are players where offense is just the cream of the crop when it comes to offensive players that have the proclivity to score. As this is going to be a green card there on Katie Murphy.
Yeah, just that shove and transition. Seen more green cards this year in between each team's attacking zone, so that's just another on the day. We've seen a lot. Just want to make sure you stay disciplined here if you're Marian. Late in this one, get the job done, move on to that Indiana Tech matchup.
Over to Turner. And Danielle pulls back out to Pringle.
So you look off ball, active players constantly in movement here for Siena Heights, and it's Allie who comes away. What a save from Hirsch.
Yeah, KJ Hirsch is going to have to be huge and continuing forward Now it's her 7th save. Nicely done on that one, up to Talia Newell. She's got room to work with if she wants it. Off to Farkas, who can't quite handle the close pass. Back over to Siena Heights.
It looked like maybe was going to turn into a transition opportunity for Marian. Passes weren't quite as crisp as you'd like to see. But this ride from the Knights has been a joy to watch all day, Joey. Just the way they're able to pressure the ball, take away passing lanes, constantly make the Saints feel a little bit uncomfortable.
There's Ava Holland and Siena Heights trying to work back now. They're even strength with Marian. Turner working through a host of Knights there. So much to like about the way that Marian has been able to conduct their defense and given offenses a headache. They installed this defense back in the fall as sort of a hybrid backer zone, as here's a shooting space violation. They were trying to just confuse teams on or decide if they were in man or zone. And it's paid off because many teams that Marian's played this season, less for the ones that have been top 10, have really not been able to figure out this defense as Allie goes through and scores her 5th goal.
Well,
5 out of the 8 belong to Jenna Alley.
Yeah, she's got 2 in a row there. And you talking about the Marian defense, you're just trying to confuse teams. I think really the one player it hasn't confused today for Siena Heights is Jenna Alley. She just knows how to find those spots, work off ball, right? And that whole possession, the ball is in Emily Pringle's stick. She's got 3 defenders pressuring her, so Pringle having a tough time facilitating inside. And then it's Alley, just the subtle movement to Pringle's right to get open. That's what creates the look at the free position. She's able to convert. And it's late in this one. You don't want to say the comeback is off, but it's just the ability for Siena Heights to just continue to try and play out this game to the final whistle. I mean, they're not going anywhere. They're not giving up. They don't want this to be their last game of the season. And, I mean, Allie has stepped up. She's been huge for them here on offense all day today.
Gray gets the draw control. Appears all right after taking the spill there into the crease, or was that Caitlin Gray earlier?
You know, it always throws me off because one is 11, the other is 1. They're sisters, same last name. All we know is they're both out on the field now, Joey. So
yep, one toss
good
to
see
the
that.
other, and they both seem to be in good shape.
I also wonder, you talk about the potential if the Marian Knights can see this one out for that rematch with Indiana Tech. Just how tough it is to beat a team that you're competitive with, and you're going to play close games with 9 times out of 10. To beat that team twice in one season, you got to imagine that just the motivation for Marian to get one back in that matchup with Indiana Tech is going to be a lot. And so, I mean, that'll be a fun one up in Fort Wayne, Joey, without a doubt. I mean, with just so much on the line when you get in these postseason tournaments here in the WHAC. And, you know, Marian, without a doubt, has their sights set on, if we can go on a run here, they feel they're a team that deserves to be in the national tournament. They feel they're a team that can earn a bid in the national tournament. And they go back to that Indiana Tech game. You wonder what the mindset is going to be for these players.
Retribution will be on the line for Marian against Indiana Tech. Going to be a lot of fun to see how that plays out. current state of women's lacrosse. It's just been such a fun year and charged year. A lot of shakeup in the polls as well. Yale has recently taken over the #1 overall ranking. Northwestern a close second. Syracuse 3 with so much more to like about this entire. Michigan's having a great year as well. This entire women's lacrosse season has been very charged and exciting to watch.
It's Allie. Once again, though, Joey's earned another spot in the 8-meter.
Get herself maybe her 6th. Can she do it? She does. The 4th free position goal for Jenna Alley and her 6th on the day. 35 on the season for the sophomore from Livonia, Michigan.
And this is where if you're Marian, you want to calm things down a little bit because, guess what? The Saints, you can say they're right back in this thing down by 6 with 6 minutes left to play. They could win a draw control, get a couple of goals here, go on a run. And this game is absolutely not over, Joey, as Jenna Alley's just trying to will her team to another game on the season. And for the Knights, you really want to get a little bit of control back and end this scoring run for the Saints. Because right now they're still feeling like there's some life left in this game. And they're going to hang tough until that final whistle. And you really got to credit them for that because all of a sudden it's cut down to 6. And a comeback is very much within the realm of possibilities.
Jada Taylor picks this one up.
And so those draw controls will go a long way in calming things down. But you got to make sure you take care of the ball.
Out of the stick there of Travis. And this is a Marian possession. But a green card awarded there to Brown.
Yeah, just a bit of a dangerous stick check that was thrown there on the far sideline. And it's just, the Saints just trying to force those turnovers, a desperation to try and get back into this game. So you got the full shot clock here for Marian. It'll be interesting to see, Joey, how patient do they want to be on offense? How much clock do they want to work, right? 6 goals is still a comfortable lead. Siena Heights gotten some momentum here in the last few minutes. So you'd imagine they just kind of work the ball around. You want to keep it hot here, but probably use some shot clock as well. I wonder how much time left on this shot clock will they start to initiate offensively.
Likely more than content to wind it down, I would imagine, but maybe we want to put the cherry on top here as a shooting space violation once again sends Ella Grace Geed back to the 8-meter. Her and Katie Murphy are fighting for most goals on Marian's roster today, both with 4 already. And Grace Geed sends it to 5 and sends the lead to 7. What an impressive talent this sophomore is. Since she stepped foot on campus, she's made an impact.
Yeah, just getting a good start off that whistle. So key on the free positions. It can look, easier when you're watching it, but to be able to time when you're going to start that run with the whistle and then to tuck that stick inside, Guy just so nifty when she gets close to the crease. And having a little bit of fun there after the goal as well with Ruby Mason. And that is one that Marian really needed just to calm the nerves a little bit. Siena Heights looked like they were up to something, but you get that lead back up to 7. Another draw control here really go a long way for Marian, surviving and advancing in the WHAC tournament.
Well, that's the first draw control we've seen right from the center of the circle. Nicely done by Tori Farkas to snag that one out of the air. And it's off and running for Marian once again. Under 5 to play here in our contest. Marian, in all likelihood, will have that rematch against Indiana Tech in the semifinals of the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference tourney. And a fun matchup today, a little Tuesday evening lacrosse for you. Here's Caitlin Gray. Off to Ella Grace Geed. 7 points today to Murphy. What a save by Stedham. She has been really good. Despite the 16, you wouldn't expect that she's been able to get some pretty highlight reel saves given the score. She has been really good in some tight spots. And Siena Heights works to transition once again. Emily Pringle retreating. I resisted making the Emily
But
Pringle.
you've been
playing,
thinking about the Pringle?
Playing with her with a chip on her shoulder.
Ah, there you go. I was
She
was
had her
wondering
first
if
goal
you
today.
had.
I had that one in the chamber ready to go. Elected not to, which I think was probably the better idea.
I mean, I would argue you still got it in. You just played it off as if I could have, but I didn't do it. But here's what I was
This
thinking
is what
about
I would have
saying.
said. That would have been really clever in the moment, but also really corny.
Hey, if you enjoy a good pun out there, hopefully you're watching the broadcast. I'll say that. I liked it.
Chance here, and Hirsch, another save. How about KJ Hirsch? She's going to be big in this next contest against Indiana Tech and determining if Marian can continue its season.
Yeah, if a goalie gets hot, it can unlock a lot of things for you in the postseason. They're going to need Hirsch to be in her A game when they play Indiana Tech and potentially beyond if that's one that they can win. Of course, goalie play, it's just one piece of the puzzle of postseason success, but her being in form today could be huge headed into the next round.
Farkas back to Ella Grace Geed at X, now working to goal line extended. Bozeman inside, finding Murphy. She thought about a shot there, maybe wisely getting away from a dangerous follow-through.
Yeah, it was good defense from the Saints, just being in the vicinity to keep her from getting that shot off.
As Ruby Mason gets fouled, this will, like for a shooting space, a 45-degree angle. 2 minutes to go here between Marian and Siena Heights. It's 5-2 at the end of one. We're at one point tied 2-2. Marian went on that little run and never looked back.
Yeah, content to use some clock here.
Looking inside there for Delaney Coles. Nobody home. Unfortunately can't field that pass. And Siena Heights will try to clear. Both teams 6 of 11 on free position goals today. And a timeout on the field, like the last one to get some more experience for some other players. Minute 28 left to go. An exciting season we've had this year for both sides. 8-5 for Marian. They will move to 9-5.
Yeah, Joey.
Successful season.
Talk about the performance for Marian today. I mean, it's just, I would say that experience really showing through. I mentioned maturity in the first 2 quarters. Really, this game as a whole, they kind of let the Saints go on a little bit of run here in the fourth. You know, if you want to be picky, you can criticize that. But they have really shown that they know what it takes to get the deal done in the postseason today. Postseason lacrosse, it's different gravy, but when you can get the job done like they have today, Saints really threw everything they could at them, just trying to facilitate as much as possible through Jenna Alley here in the fourth. But it's just staying calm, winning those draws in the draw circle, getting back on offense, capitalizing on opportunities, getting off the shots that they want. And so even though, Siena Heights has gone on a run late in this game, this is a team that through body language, and just watching up here in the press box, never felt like this was in doubt. They knew they had what it takes to get to the next round, and they've shown that. You wonder, too, if there's a little bit of mentality kind of kicking themselves a little bit for not getting that Indiana Tech win earlier in the season, not potentially getting that bye. And so coming out with just that business-like mentality of, we're here today on our home turf. We're ready to get this win, move on to the next round, and get to where we think we should be in this season. And that has really shown today. This team both defensively, players stepping up who need to. Mentioned Hirsch. She's faced plenty of shots. She's come up big a lot in between the pipes today. And then just getting the job done on their possessions when they get those looks on cage. It's been a fun performance to watch for the Knights.
Nice move and pass up to Pringle. And it's cash for Emily Pringle. And a 10th goal there for Siena Heights.
That's out of that timeout. Siena Heights gets a look in transition.
Yep.
Pringle finishes off the play. And she's in her senior year. And I can't confirm where she's at eligibility-wise, but Pringle has been one of the leaders on this team. 34 goals coming into this one. It's been a quiet afternoon for her, but she has been a big part of Siena Heights and this program throughout the years. So good for her to get a goal late on here.
She'll have the nod in points, by the way, over Jenna Alley for the season. But they both have 36 goals now on the year.
Yeah, two players.
35 rather.
A couple of players who know how to place their shots, score some goals. Pringle has been more of a facilitator today, but nonetheless been a huge part of this offense.
And more on the attempted GB. And Marian with 1 minute to go, likely just to run this clock out as much as they can, unless Siena Heights has something to say about it in transition. Love the fight that the Saints are showing. It's Androwski. Off to Brown. And off the foot there of Jenna Alley. And you said it best, Harrison. Marian, body language right away. They were just playing confidently from the start. Siena Heights came out. A couple quick goals. But it was always going to be the Knights with the confidence that they showed in that first quarter to roll through on their home turf and show out to win a quarterfinal game in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference Tournament. They will meet the Indiana Tech Warriors for a rematch after the victory today over Siena Heights. You gave your monologue there with about a minute and a half left to go. You got anything else for the people at home?
Just all-around good performance from Marian. When you're playing in the postseason, team's going to give everything they got to knock you out, whether they're a 6 seed, a 1 seed, no matter what it is. And you talked with Allie Stork-Sneed before this one just about how Siena Heights has gone on runs before as an underdog. You mentioned as an 8 seed, got to the national championship. So it's just not going to be a cakewalk for Marian. Really much had to come out, play their game, do what they do best, focus on themselves, and execute. And I'd say they did all the above today.
That they did. Excellent job, partner. This was a fun one.
No problem, Joey.
Well, for Vince Morales, our director, and our entire ISC crew, and for Harrison Silcox and Joey Lindstrom saying so long, Marian is victorious over Siena Heights. They go on to the semifinals of the WHAC tournament. This has been a presentation of NAIA Women's Lacrosse on ISC Sports Network.
always had great taste. Today, try great taste with zero sugar. This is the Pepsi with zero compromises. This is Pepsi Zero